Good morning, everybody. My name is Rick Wagner. I'm one of the Patriots here in Germany. I'm based here in Germany. And this is a message going out to all Patriots, all normal thinking people all over Europe, not even in Europe, yeah, but in America and Australia as well. This is for the English speaking group. I wanted to represent us a bit here in Germany. I wanted to speak to you guys and let you know where some of us are in terms of these movements. There's a few developments that are taking place now that, obviously they're rocking Europe. All over Europe, the governments the people are voting in not right-wing governments. The way it's being portrayed in the media. And the media is being portrayed as if Hitler has arisen, and we have a new Third Reich coming in Germany or wherever, and that's just a nonsense. What we have is we've gone so far to the left, we've gone so far to the socialistic, bizarre socialistic model that these people want us to live under, that the move to the right that we're taking right now is just a move back to reason, back to normalcy, basically. The things that we all knew as kids were good and right. There's a couple things I want to do. To everybody, to all the European states, all of our friends and all of our comrades in Poland and in Czech Republic, in England, Scotland, Ireland, and also in France and in Italy and Greece and especially in Hungary. I want a big special thanks to Mr. Orban in Hungary. I mean, you did a very courageous thing by closing your borders and building this wall. You really did. I mean, I know this looks bad for some people across the world, but internally we understand that this was a good thing. This was definitely a very positive thing. So thank you very much, Mr. Orban. What I want to say to the rest of the European countries and all the people in these countries, the government here in Germany does not represent all of us. Matter of fact, they're representing less and less of us every single day. Every single day, more and more of us are fed up, and totally dismayed by what's happening here in Germany. We do not support this open border policy. We do not support this opening of arms and saying anybody that feels uncomfortable in their land, they can come to us and receive as many benefits as more benefits than actually the indigenous people. So I want to apologize. I want to apologize to Poland. I want to apologize to the Czech Republic, and I especially want to apologize to the Greeks, to the Italians, to the Spaniards, to the Hungarians, and the Romanians. I want to apologize to you for our government. Our government has put your land, has put your people and your land in grave danger. They've put the entire European continent in grave dangers. Let me be very specific on one thing. We obviously in Europe and in Germany we have our extreme right wing, that hate everything and hate everybody. They hate anybody that's black and they hate anybody that's brown and they hate everything. We don't represent these people. We represent people with good values in their heart. That's what's important to me. It's important to me that the values in the heart are in line with our values here in Europe. And our values here in Europe are Judeo-Christian, and that's just it. We think that the good things in life are loving, are caring for other people, are helping the weak and helping the poor, accepting people's differences, even if they're not in line with our personal beliefs. As long as it's not harmful to us. We accept pluralism. We accept every religion that wants to come here. If you want to come, if you're from India, and you're a good person, and you're you're a hard worker, man, we're happy to have you. If you're from Turkey and even and I'm gonna say this, even if you're from Turkey, and even if you are, one of these apostate Muslims, that kind of says, hey, this is part of my heritage. I don't live really hard and tough, I'm okay with that as well. For me, it's about the values in the heart. If you accept me, I believe. I've grown up in a Judeo-Christian value system. I believe this. I accept it. I think it's a good thing, and I like to promote it. Love your neighbor as yourself. Give your life up for your brother. These are good things. And I want to promote this, and I want to keep this as our culture here. What I don't want to have is in our culture here is what I see in 57 other Islamic states across the planet. Look at the eyes of Christians, you see peace and love. Look in the eyes of most, of hardcore Muslims, and you have hate and anger and I just can't accept a God that is so hateful and so angry. I don't want a God that's so hateful and so angry, and I definitely don't want this culture, this type of value system invading our culture, and that's what's happening right now. And that's why we've all stood up. And that's why we're standing up daily, and that's why daily more and more are coming into our group, and more are coming into our fold. We have lots of different organizations that are standing up and providing resistance. Um, these organizations are going to be united. We're working on that now. We have the numbers right now in Germany. We have the numbers already in Germany. To change the government, call for new elections. We have that. The media is fighting tooth and nail against us. I've never, I've seen it in the past myself. How these propaganda machines work, but I've never experienced it myself. And since I've been in Germany, it's just amazing. I've never seen such a propaganda machine. I mean, just outright lies. Just outright lies. And the sad thing about it is, even such nation, most of your other nations are jumping on the bandwagon and listening to, and accepting basically the line of thought from the German media. Yesterday I had an interview with a Israeli journalist. Long, very good interview, and she was amazed by the things I was telling her. I said. She spoke of things that have happened here in Germany, and she said, and she obviously spoke it from the line of thought from the media. And I was like, you don't have the facts, do you? And she was like, what do you mean? I said, you don't have the facts. I said, let me send you some facts. And I sent her some facts, and I told her what the reality was, what the truth was. For example, people were misquoted here in Germany. They're misquoted, and obviously the misquote is in such a way that that it makes them look. You're just like, oh my God, I'm aghast, and that's not the fact, And so I brought her, I brought her the facts. I showed her the original quotes, and she was like, oh my goodness. I said, yes. I said, this is taking place on every single level in our government here and in our media here. So these are the things that we're fighting against. We're fighting against a big machine, but we're strong and we're united. We're getting stronger every day. One of the things I want to say about one of the things I want to say directly to all the nations out there, and I'm calling you nations. I'm calling Poland a nation. I'm calling France a nation. I'm calling the Czech Republic a nation. I'm calling Hungary a nation. These are nations. There's been a subtle change in words in the last year or two. And this is just an attempt to psychologically prepare us, for the giving up of our national sovereignty. You all are states now. You were nation states, and then at some point they dropped the nation and started calling you states. And that's why this German the chairman of the parliament, and his name's Schultz, Martin Schultz. That's why he stands there with his hands on his hips, saying, this is wrong. That your states, you should be helping and being solidarity, and we're going to use force if we have to, because he's taking your national sovereignty. And I want to ensure you of one thing: the new German government that will be coming, will ensure and will respect your national sovereignty. We respect the sovereignty of Poland to make their own internal decisions and not to fall in lockstep, not to fall in lockstep in Europe. We accept Hungary's, individual needs, individual wants, individual perspectives for the future. We understand it, and we respect that. We'll lock arms. We'll stand shoulder to shoulder with you where we need to, where we want to, where it's profitable for us all. But in the end, we're going to respect the fact that Hungarians are Hungary, are Hungarians. That Poland, is Poland. And that the people of England are England, people from England, and they have their own separate decisions to make, and it shouldn't be brought from the EU, from Brussels. And this is another thing I want to speak upon. Uh, I've watched what's happening with the EU in the last, couple of years. I've seen how they've become more arrogant, how they've sent down. I haven't seen a positive thing yet come out of the EU. Nothing, for at least for us here in Germany, not a single thing. Um, what I see is EU is an attempt to create a United States of Europe. That's obviously, which I'm not totally against. I think we should stand together. I think we should lock arms and where it's necessary put our strengths and our mind and our intelligence together and work for a common future. But I don't think it should be under pressure. I don't think it should be under with a threat of some kind of a sanctions or a violence against you. I don't think it should be that. I think it should be a consensus. I think we should sit at a table, me and the leader of Poland, whoever that's going to be, me and the leader of Czech or wherever. We can sit down and say, hey, how's it looking on your end? How's it looking? Let's put our strengths together on this situation. But at the end of the day, everybody is a sovereign nation, and we're going to respect that. If Poland says, we're only going to take the Christians from these areas, then I understand that. I mean, that's their personal decision, and they're doing what they think is right for their own people, and it's not our. We don't have the power, and we don't have the right to tell you guys, to tell anybody up there, you have to be, show solidarity and take such and such amount. You're a sovereign nation, and I don't expect that from you. And the new government of Germany won't do that either. The new government of Germany is going to, and we're going to have a new government. Within a year, we're going to have a new government. This government, Merkel, Gabriel, all these people that have, these talking heads without any brains in them, we're going to get rid of them. If I had my way, after the new elections, I would remove their immunity and put them for a court here in Germany or in Europe, for the absolute destabilization of this entire continent. But we'll talk about that some other time. What I want to show you is we're with you. We stand with you. It's not about color. It's not about creed. It's not about national sovereignty. It's not about I'm Polish and I'm German and I'm Spanish. It's about being patriots. It's about defending your own culture, and that which is good in your own neighborhoods. All politics is local. And what I want to respect that, and I want to support that. I'll be making some more videos in the future. Probably better videos than this. This is my first video for everybody. So I did a lot of looking in other directions and stuttering and so forth. But I'm going to become better. The topic that we're talking about, the situation that we have in Europe taking place now, is just has moved me in such a way that I have to speak and I have to be out there and I have to fight for this, because and I encourage everybody, in England and Poland, Czech, in Hungary, everywhere in entire Europe, also in America and in Australia. Let me give you a warning in Australia. Let me give you a warning in Canada. Let me give you a warning in America. You have no idea what this radical form of Islam is about. This thing has been going on for 1,400 years. We have the only reason it stopped the last 30, 40 years is because we put dictators in down there that held everything in under an iron fist. I was very, very happy when this Arabian Spring took place. I was really happy. I was because I hate dictators actually, and I was really happy about this, but after I saw what came out of this, the cold reality came upon me, and I realized what the situation was. I realized that we have to make compromises in life. We have to make hard decisions, dirty decisions, especially when you're talking about world politics. And one of the dirty decisions that I would probably even support now is a return to those dictators, Mubarak and Gaddafi and all these people, because they kept us safe. Unfortunately, and that's a sad reality about this ideology. If you don't keep it under grips, if you're not willing to fight it with force, if you're not willing to take up arms, pull out swords, pull out machine guns, you can't stop it. That's the only way to stop this thing. And that's unfortunate. My heart burns and cries for the women and children that are born into these born into this horrible. It's a horrible situation. Horrible. Uh, that Saudi Arabia has a hand has the chair is the chairman of the Human Rights Commission, and it's just bizarre. And it shows how bizarre that our world has become. It shows how corrupt that our world has become. We in Germany, we're doing massive arms deals with Saudi Arabia. You know, obviously we're getting massive amounts of money back from Saudi Arabia because because they suddenly have this oil and they suddenly have money. So now they can buy their way into our societies. And if I had my way, I would stop this. I would stop this. We can do deals. We can make whatever economic, wherever it's morally okay. What I wouldn't do is sell my soul for it, and that's what Angela Merkel has done. That's what Gabriel has done. That's what our politicians have done. That's what a lot of politicians all over the world are doing. They're selling our souls and the souls of these nations. That's us. We are the souls of these nations. They aren't the souls of the nations. We are the souls. There's a concrete soul in every nation, and that's us. That's the people who make up these nations. And they're selling us out. So I'm asking everybody. I'm gonna go ahead and cut this off because it's already 16 minutes. So I'm asking everybody. All over, in America, like I said, the rest of the European countries outside of Germany. I'm asking them for forgiveness for a government that is destabilized and destabilized the entire continent and made it a more dangerous place to live. Um, and I want to ask for your support and your solidarity. Stand with us. You know, build your groups in your nations. Take contact and make contacts everywhere. Get out of Facebook. Get out of Facebook and go to Telegram. Telegram is another Facebook portal, but it has very good coding, and it's not in a position where the governments can't look into your private accounts. They can't see your posts. They can't they don't remove anything. Some of it is horrible because there's Islamists in there as well. But this is the reality. Get into Telegram. Let's move to Telegram. I'm there already. I'd ask the rest of you to do that. Then we can get we can have a real democratic grassroots movement here in Europe. So, like I said, build your forces in your nations. Know that we stand with you, and know that within a year, we have elections here in Germany. We're gonna have a boot about this big, and we're gonna kick these people out of our parliament. Hopefully for good. And then we're gonna change things here in Europe. We're going to solidify. We're going to come together here in Europe. We're going to solidify, and we're going to build a bulwark against this invasion. Basically, I want to speak with. I'd like to speak with all those, and I'd like to speak with those in charge in Greece and in Italy. On a European scale, I'd like to put together a Coast Guard watch. Basically on the same level as Australia. We will save these people. We'll save these people that are coming from Libya and boats and so forth. We'll save them, bring them on our boat, sink their boat. We'll take them back to their point of origin, leave them out there, and turn around and leave. And what we're going to do is we're and select more of these people who are really war refugees, not migrants, not people who just want to come here for benefits and who want to come here for an Islamic invasion. But real refugees. We're willing and we want to help these people, but not the other people, not the people who want our ill will for us. So to keep it short, just to cut it off here, pull yourselves together. Know that you're not alone. And we're going to stand with you here in Germany. We're standing with you. We're the underground. We're the resistance. We're getting stronger by the day. So. This is all from me. My name is Rick Wagner from Germany. I'm here in Dresden, matter of fact, right now. I'm going for the big rally tonight. I'm really looking forward to it. Have a good day, and pass this around. Pass this around and put your comments to it. And if you have, like I said, my name is Rick Wagner. I'm on Facebook. If you want to pin me, if you want to write me and say, hey, I think you should have talked about this, or hey, I think this would be a good idea. I'm open. I'm not a dictator. I'm open. I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear your opinions. Because the more heads we have involved here, the better things are going to be. Take care of yourself. Peace, and I wish you all love.